going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday covering all your sports leagues, whether it be NFL, NHL, MLB, or NBA, games, highlights, news, that fun stuff. We're here to talk about it. And today's a bittersweet day for me in the MLB world because Nick's happy, which is unfortunate for me. But I did get part of my prediction right. Obviously, the American versus National League All-Star Game happened yesterday, and Jarren Duran wins MVP. Nick didn't have confidence in his guy to pick him, so very interesting, Nick. You're going to have a lot of talking to do on that front. But, I kind of had it played out right in a way. It was going to be like tied, National League up early. Someone's going to hit a go-ahead two-run home run. Just didn't happen to be my boy Willie Castro. Just happened to be Jarren Duran. But overall, I kind of get a sense of what I'm feeling right now, and I'm kind of on a little bit of a heater. So gotta give myself
when it happened, and the game ended and everything. I kind of realized afterwards. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, aside from the player, like you pretty much
everything was spot on with what my prediction was.
Coming off the bench, two-run homer. Win the game.
It's going to be someone off the bench, hits a two-run homer. Yeah, just wasn't – Willie Castro didn't even play until like the eighth inning. But that's when it could have happened if it was still tied 3-3. But overall, Nick, and we'll let you get into the game. Just overall, very exciting little American League comeback. But very fun.
Yeah, it started out Tanner Houck was not exactly representing the Red Sox well. He got –
Jarren Duran made up for it.
Jarren Duran, he made up for it big time. But Tanner Houck, I think every single batter he faced had a hard hit ball, whether it was an out or, as we saw, Ohtani hit his 3-run homer. But like Tanner Houck, I mean, I know it's the All-Star game. Maybe he's not trying to throw as hard as he can or blah blah blah. But it was rough for that inning, and I thought that was kind of going to be it. I thought with that 3-run homer, Ohtani secured his All-Star Game MVP, but then, American League comes right back, scores 3 runs, in the
Soto leading the way early on that comeback.
Yep. And then Duran came up and, I was kind of hoping for maybe just like a base hit. Like that'd be pretty cool for his first All-Star plate appearance. And he hits an absolute bomb. And I was pretty hyped for it just because, as a Red Sox fan, I know not everybody, in the MLB has paid attention to him, but like Jarren Duran 2 years ago was awful. And a ton of Red Sox fans, and I'm not going to lie, probably including myself, were, they were on him, telling him, all sorts of bad stuff. He was in his own head. He was in a bad place mentally. So for him to be able to come back from all that, turn himself into an all-star, end up winning the All-Star Game MVP, I think it was really cool to see. I think he's the first All-Star Game MVP for the Red Sox since Pedro in like 1999. But I think he's the first position player to win it since like Ted Williams, which is kind of nuts because that was in the 40s. So
good company to be in.
Yeah, exactly. But big shout out to him. I know All-Star Game MVP isn't
who did he hit the home run off of? I'm kind of blanking on that right now.
Hunter Green. And I kind of saw in Instagram comments, people were saying like, I can name 100 pitchers better than Hunter Green to be in this All-Star.
That is, I mean, part of the problem is you do have to fit out, one out of every player's, teams.
Yeah.
So exactly. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, home run's a home run, and Hunter Green's not a bad pitcher. So at the end of the day,
he throws hard. But it was just cool to see as a Red Sox fan. I mean, like you just said, everybody gets an all-star player, so there was going to be a Red Sox in it no matter what. But it's cool to see him show out.
Tanner Houck deserved it, but I always thought like he was the weakest link going in. Like
I know Devers opted out just because he's got like his shoulder problem, so he doesn't want to mess with that. I think it was Jordan Westberg, which was your guy.
He deserved it, man. Too.
Yeah, he did. And I'm pretty sure he got in the game. I know a bunch of guys got in the game, which is obviously that's what you want to see. That's what the managers were hoping for, to get all these first-timers into the game so they can experience it because, you never know if you're going to be back. Like Jarren Duran, he's probably, soaking in this whole week because he doesn't know if he's going to be back. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So overall, it's really cool to see. I'm really happy for Jarren Duran. Paul Skeens kind of put on, a bit of a show. I know he didn't strike anybody out, but it was fun to watch him, go up against a guy like Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to light him up too. That would have been, set the tone early on. He should just be thankful Correa wasn't playing today. But yeah, shout out to Jarren Duran, gets the All-Star MVP, helps the American League win. The one time, I'll be happy for us. But yeah, overall, great stuff. So, with that being said, American League continues their domination of however many wins in the last several years.
They've got like 10 of the last 11. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, so the domination continues on the American League side. And overall, huge dub, just because you like seeing it, even though it's not worth playing anything for anything anymore. Still always like to see who the better conference or whatever you want to call it league is. So which league is just better. So it's always good to get that little trash talk out of the way. But with that being said, overall, so now games will resume. I believe Friday. Everyone has today and tomorrow off, so little rest time. But with that being said, typically around this time we do our weekly check-in. And later on, before the games resume, we're going to have our MLB game predictions back. But throughout the next couple of days, we might have some like mid-season awards like MVP, all Manager of the Year, Rookie of the Year. But Nick, to finish off today's episode, maybe we'll give some pointers to our two teams as we look forward to the second half stretch of what you're looking for from your Boston Red Sox as we enter the second half in a couple of days.
Yep. I'm seeing more and more reports come out from, Red Sox beat writers and all that the front office is looking to help them, which is something I never thought I'd say this year. I've been on this podcast, for a few months now, and I've constantly slandered the front office and John Henry for being cheap and not helping out this team, whether it's in the offseason or right now. But I think they've absolutely earned it, being 11 games over 500. I don't think any Red Sox fan, I don't think ownership thought they were going to be there. I don't think anybody thought they were going to be there. And yet they're right in the mix for a playoff spot. And I think they absolutely deserve the help. I think they do need the help. They need two things. They need a starting pitcher and they need a right-handed bat. That's all you got to get. A bullpen arm would be cool, but I think the Red Sox bullpen is okay as is right now. Obviously, another arm won't kill you, but don't give up an arm and a leg for a rental reliever. I'd rather give up an arm and a leg for a really good rental starter that might help us get to the ALCS or the World Series. But you never know. Who do the Twins have coming up in their first series?
It's weird. They don't play until Saturday, so they have 2 games with the Brewers at home, and then
that's going to be a good series. The Red Sox have the Dodgers, so they got their work cut out for them.
Ours are 2 games, so I'm just kind of looking for a split. Obviously 2-2 would be nice, but it's going to be Brewers are a really solid team, so I got to give them some respect there. So yeah, that'll be very interesting to see what the Red Sox do. My first and probably biggest thing the second half is, injuries. Can we please stop the injuries? I don't know how we'll do it, but I mean, those last 2 games against the Giants, we somehow won one of those games. Almost won the second one too, if it wasn't for a walkout. But we have just too many injuries right now. Royce Lewis, obviously, has been injured. That's kind of, whatever. If he could ever stay healthy, that'd be nice. But Carlos Correa, the plantar fasciitis, hopefully that's not back from last year or not nearly as bad because it affected his hitting a lot last season and kind of why people think he fell off the map for a while. Then this year has been playing great, but then there's rumors, it's not as bad. He's just using the All-Star break to heal, but, it'll just be a question mark to see how he looks because, if he faces a significant drop, there's definitely something we can point it towards. Jose Miranda on the 10-day IL. So kind of just the big hitters right now, we need to be healthy for this stretch run. Obviously, if it's really just 10 days and he's fine, that's whatever. You're going to have those small injuries. But down the line, we're going to need these guys fully healthy. So I'm just looking at the injury gods and just saying, just give us some luck here. Hopefully Byron Buxton stays healthy because he's been a much improved hitter this season and probably the best he's ever looked in a couple of years now. So my first thing before, actual players is can the injuries just stop dramatically? Because it's becoming too much at this point where, especially for a guy like Royce Lewis, where we just need them on the field because when this lineup is healthy, I don't think we need to trade or get another bat. I think this lineup is already, badass enough to make a run. I'm more concerned with the pitching side.
Mm-hmm. So do the Twins really need to make a move? I feel like the Twins are more maybe for a pitcher, but I feel like as a lineup, it's like you just said, it's more so.
No, I don't. Twins don't need to make a lineup move, especially just because, we saw Royce Lewis goes down, or Austin Martin, who should be back after that was another injury, 10-day IL after being a great utility man, kind of like a Willie Castro on diet version a little bit. But even then, you see Brooks Lee come in and is already hitting 300, even though it's only 10, 15 games for him. They got a lot of depth in the prospect pool as well. Guys that are playing great in the minors. So no hitting is necessary, even with the injuries right now. I would say only problem is probably trade for a pitcher. But even then, I feel like the starter market, it's really Evaldi. But that's going to be the guy that's going to be looked for from a lot of teams. And, Jack Flaherty. So there really isn't much. I'm just hoping – I guess I'll just finish off with my second half because we're going to talk about, surprises, disappointments. This guy might just get out of the way for me now because it relates to this. I need Pablo Lopez to go back to the ace form he was last season and down the stretch run because if he goes back to what he was, it was a weird first half for him. I know a lot of the advanced metrics say he's been a solid pitcher this year, but either way, we need some better performances, especially against better teams, because it's nice to pitch 8 innings against the A's and strike out 14, but I don't really care about the A's. I need these performances against the Astros and all that stuff. So if he can go back to what he was, and I have a lot more confidence in, say, him, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, starting 3 for a playoff series, and, if needed help, like Simeon Woods Richardson to come in. So, yeah, should be very interesting, but overall, I'd say there because – the bullpen, I trust for the most part. You have Griffin Jack, sub-2 ERA, and even though he's had a weird season, he's kind of bounced back. I'll still have Duran is better than 97% of relievers out there for me. Yeah. So when I would say if you were, but it's just going to be tough. So I think it's going to be both. They might get one reliever or something, but I would rely heavily on the internal improvements of guys like Pablo, and, maybe someone else surprises. But, Joe Ryan's been really solid throughout the whole season. So just kind of, mainly looking at Pablo for the second half improvements.
Yeah, it seems like, every team that's in the playoff right now, they're looking for pitching. That's what wins you playoff games. That's what wins you World Series is who has the better pitching. So I think we're going to see a lot of guys move that maybe we didn't expect to be moved. Some that did. I think Garrett Crochet is a guy who will get moved because, the White Sox are a dumpster fire, but he's kind of the lone bright spot.
This is where I miss Sonny Gray, man, because if we had him right now, I feel like not necessarily World Series favorites, but definitely up there with the Orioles and stuff. Because if you, with this lineup, went into a series with Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, and Pablo Lopez, it'd be over. I'd be
there would be much with how Sonny Gray's pitching too. I know the Cardinals are kind of iffy. I know I picked them to kind of fall out of the race the second half of the year. I don't think how they play is going to hold up. And maybe if, they get off
has been a big reason why they're even in the race right now and why they're above 500.
Maybe if they fall off, maybe if they come out of the All-Star break and lose 5 straight, they automatically become sellers. Maybe the Twins can go get him because he's an older guy.
It's he signed a 3-year deal. That's just gonna be way too tough. You'd have to give up some big prospect, and I'm not ready to do that because I also have that fear with Sonny Gray. Despite how great he's playing, he is 35. That age cliff could just hit him in the second. I don't know.
I mean, you never know. You got to take a big swing sometimes. It's sort of the same thing with Nathan Eovaldi. If you go after him, he's I think 33 or 34 or something. He's getting up there.
I just trust Eovaldi has the playoff track record though that I'd be more so willing towards, and he has like an option for next season. But after that, it's like over. I think Sonny Gray still has like another 2-3 years after this year, so it's just a lot more tougher per se.
I think, like I said, I think Garrett Crochet is probably going to be, the premium pitcher on the market just because of how good he's pitching, even in Chicago. I think he has a 500 record, which is saying something. It kind of that might say more than any of his other stats. The fact that he has a 500 record with the Chicago White Sox. So who knows who goes after him? A team with a deep farm system. I think a team like the Orioles might go after him. That would be a big pickup for them because they have obviously so many young good players that aren't even in the major leagues that they could trade away. But we'll see. Like, it's going to be very exciting to watch. I love the trade deadline because you always see, big names get moved that maybe you didn't expect. When the Red Sox got Kyle Schwarber a few years ago, I was not expecting that at all, but he was super fun to watch when he came here.
Schwarber.
What's that?
Yeah, Schwarber. Schwarber.
I'm still upset they didn't keep him. I'm still upset he didn't stay here, but he's obviously thriving in Philly. He's getting to the fucking, pardon my language, getting to the.
Was it last season he had like last season or like a season ago was like 200 average, 50 bombs definition.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's like the epitome of what they call the 3 true outcomes, which is home run, walk, or strikeout. Sure. That's what he does.
Yeah, which is fine because you need one of those guys in your lineup.
Yeah,
but should be very interesting, as we head into second half. But like I said, they're curious. Let us know, guys, in your comments. Did anyone guess the Jarren Duran All-Star MVP? Maybe we have some Red Sox fans out there that had that optimism that Nick clearly didn't in his guy. So that's definitely
sorry, Jarren.
But should be very interesting as we approach the second half. But let us know in the comments what you guys think will happen in the second half. Will there be a team that kind of gets hot that we don't expect to sneak into the wild card? Who bounces back, or maybe who falls off? We're always curious to get your guys' thoughts. But as always, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you next one. Peace.